Good morning, I'm Cadet Isaiah Kambao, and today we're gonna talk about the regulations of MLC 2006 or Maritime Labor Conventions 2006. So here it is. First, Regulation 1, it talks about the minimum requirements for seafarers to work on a ship. So the Regulation 1.1, it talks about the minimum age requirements. So on on working on a ship, you you have to be over 18 years old to work be- to ensure that you are eligible to work on board. Second, the 1.2 medical certificates. Its purpose is to ensure that all seafarers are medically fit to perform their duties at sea. So, medically fit means you're physically and mentally fit to work on board, because sometimes if you're physically fit and not mentally fit, you will not you will not be able to stay on board for a very long time. Regulation 1.3, it talks about the training and qualifications. Its purpose is to ensure that seafarers are trained and qualified to carry out their duties on board the ship. So when working on board, we have to take all the necessary exams or certificates to work permanently on board without problems. So 1.4 talks about the recruitment and placement. Its purpose is to ensure that seafarers have access to efficient and well-regulated seafarer recruitment and placement system. So it talks about the agency that you are applying when you are about to work on board. So Regulation 2, it talks about the 2.1 talks about the seafarers employment agreements. Its purpose is to ensure that seafarers have fair employment agreement between the worker and the agency. 2.2 talks about the wages. It is very important that seafarers are paid for their hard work on board. So 2.3 talks about the hours of work and rest, and also the entitlement to leave. So its purpose is to ensure that seafarers have fair hours of work and hours of rest, because if you work too much, your body will deteriorate sooner, and our body is very important when working on board. So the 2.4 is to ensure that seafarers have adequate leave. 2.5 talks about the repatriation, or the purpose to ensure that seafarers are able to return home when their contract is done. 2.6 talks about the compensation for seafarers on ships lost or foundering, to ensure that seafarers are compensated when a ship is lost or had foundered. So it talks about when a ship is a ship is lost or out of service on the middle of a contract. Yeah, that's all. 2.7 talks about the manning levels. Its purpose is to ensure that seafarers work on board ships with sufficient personnel for the safe, efficient, and secure operation of the ship. So it talks about the proper number of crews on board. So it's not overnumbered or outnumbered. So 2.8 talks about the career and skill development opportunities for seafarers, to promote career and skill development and employment opportunities for seafarers. So here is the some photos, the repatriation, the hours of work and rest, and the seafarers are paid for their services. So on Regulation 3, talks about the accommodation, recreational facilities, food, and catering. 3.1 is purpose to ensure that seafarers have decent accommodation and recreational facilities on board. So, on pictures below, we can see a basketball court built on a ship, some gym and tennis, table tennis. So some ships have those, and Regulation 3.2 talks about the food and catering to ensure that seafarers have access to good quality food and drinking water provided under regulated hygienic conditions. So talks about the seafarers' right to have a good quality food and drinking water on board under regulated hygienic conditions. So here you can see they have a mini banquet. So it promotes also the good friendship among other crew. So here, Regulation 4 talks about the health protection, medical care, welfare, and social security protection. 4.1 talks about the medical care aboard ship and ashore. Its purpose is to protect the health of seafarers and ensure their prompt access to medical on board at the on board ship at the shore. So when the seafarer got sick, uh, they have the right to immediate to call immediate assistance, a medical service for them to treat their sickness. And also, if they are on shore, they have the right. So 4.2 talks about the ship owner's liability to ensure that seafarers are protected from financial consequences of sickness, injury, or death occurring in connection with their employment. So if you're in the contract and if you got sick, serious sickness or serious injury or even death, uh, this this regulation protects us, that it's ship owner's liability if in case what happened to us on board. Regulation 4.3, health and safety protection and accident prevention. Its purpose to ensure that seafarers' work environment on board ships promotes occupational safety and health. So you have to be uh, they have a saying that health is wealth. Regulation 4.4, access to shore-based welfare facilities to ensure that seafarers working on board a ship have access to shore-based facilities and service to secure their health and well-being. I guess it talks about the uh, acquiring a PhilHealth or SSS, or even this one, the St. Peter. So this is the right. Regulation 4.5, social security to ensure that measures are taken with a view to providing seafarers with access to social security protection. So here is the SSS. Regulation 5, compliance and enforcement. So Regulation 5.1 talks about flag state responsibilities to ensure that each member implements its responsibilities under this convention with respects to ship that flies flag. So it talks about flag state will decide for itself on how to comply with the maritime conventions. So condition will vary from flag state to flag state. So Regulation 5.2, the port state responsibilities. It enables each member to implement its responsibilities under this convention regarding international cooperation in the implementation and enforcement of the convention. Standards on foreign ships. So it outlines the onshore complaints process. The port state inspections what's the provide a ongoing mechanism for checking compliance. So normally a port state control inspector will go on board and just check the maritime labor certificate and the declaration of maritime labor compliance if it is in order. So if deficiencies or problems, issues are found, the inspector would bring them to the attention of the master and give give the master a deadline to fix the necessary issues. So if the conditions on board are found to be hazardous for the safety of the crew, uh, safety of the crew, so the ship will be detained until the problems are fixed or rectified. So that's all. Thank you.